Welcome all my Bureau of Secondary Primary School. That's our weekly time, and today we will start the last lesson of Unit 3 as usual. We will finish this lesson, but before we start this lesson of observing the space, we will have a comparison or a review about what we have studied between, or the similarities and differences between solar and lunar eclipse. So let's start our lesson today, our episode today, by this very important comparison from my point of view. من وجهة نظري الشخصية, it's a very important comparison between the two lessons we have studied, which are solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. So let's start this comparison. We know that Earth rotates around the Sun in fixed elliptical orbit, and also Moon rotates around the Sun, around the Earth in fixed semicircular or elliptical orbit. So what's the difference between the two phenomena, which are solar and lunar eclipse? So we can make a definition for each one of them. Solar eclipse, it's an astronomical phenomenon, occurs when the Sun, Earth and the Moon are nearly on one straight line with the Moon in the middle. Again, solar eclipse is an astronomical phenomenon, occurs when the Sun, Earth and the Moon are nearly one straight line with the Moon in the middle. But what about lunar eclipse? It's an astronomical phenomenon, occurs when the Sun, Earth and the Moon are nearly also one straight line with the Earth in the middle. So the main difference here, الفرق الوحيد هنا هو middle body. Solar eclipse, it is the Moon, but about lunar eclipse, it is the Earth, or it is the Earth. Okay, so we have two conditions in each one of them. First condition is that Sun, Earth and the Moon are on a straight line, but the middle body, الجزء اللي في المنتصف أو الجسم اللي في المنتصف, هو the difference between solar and lunar eclipse. So in the solar eclipse it will be the Moon, in the lunar it will be the Earth. So let me draw the difference between both those phenomena, between solar and lunar eclipse. So let's write, or let's draw the main difference between them in drawing. Imagine that I have the Sun. Let's draw it themselves, and here is the Sun again. I have the Sun here to drawing about solar and lunar eclipse. Here is the Moon in solar eclipse, and here is the Earth. Okay, but what about if the Earth comes in the middle and the Moon comes outside? It will be lunar eclipse. So here I have solar eclipse, and here I have lunar eclipse. Okay, so the main difference between those two interesting phenomena is the middle body. If Moon in the middle, it will be solar eclipse. If Earth in the middle, it will be lunar eclipse. Again, if Moon in the middle, it will be solar eclipse. If Earth in the middle, it will be lunar eclipse. So what else, or what are the main differences between the two phenomena? Let's see again. I have another point of definition, a point of comparison. Solar eclipse can be caused by blocking sunlight and casting the middle body, the Moon or the shadow, on the outer celestial body. Again, I have another point of comparison, or point of difference between them. شوف مع بعض about the two interesting phenomena, which are solar and lunar. Solar eclipse caused by blocking sunlight and casting the middle body, the Moon shadow, on the outer celestial body. So what about lunar? What about lunar eclipse? What about lunar? It's caused by blocking of sunlight and casting the middle body, which is the Earth in this case, which is the Earth, the body, shadow on the outer celestial body, which is the Moon. السولار eclipse بيكون فيه الجزء اللي في المنتصف أو الجسم اللي في المنتصف هو المون، وبيحجب ضوء الشمس عن outer celestial body, الجسم الخارجي اللي هو الأرث. So again, what about solar eclipse? It's caused by blocking the sunlight and casting the middle body, which is the Moon in this case, في الحالة ديت, shadow on the outer celestial body, the Earth. So what about lunar? It's caused by blocking sunlight and casting the middle body, or the Earth, the shadow, on the outer celestial body, which is the Moon in this case. So again, the main difference between them, is that the middle body. If it is solar eclipse, the Moon will be the middle body. If it's lunar eclipse, the Earth will be the middle body. Okay, so another difference, solar eclipse, their types occur or repeated in a regular period of time and can be predicted. Their type occurs or repeated in regular period of time and can be predicted. So what about lunar? Their types occur or repeated in regular periods of time and can also be predicted. So it's here a similarity not difference. هنا تشابه بين الاثنين، تطابق كمان, because their types occur or repeat in regular period of time and can be predicted at regular time at the year. Okay, another comparison or another point of comparison. In solar eclipse, the shadow is classified into umbra and penumbra. But what about lunar? I have two shadows also, which are umbra and penumbra. Again, the shadow is classified into umbra and penumbra. So what about the difference between solar and lunar? I have made difference between them. So in solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes between the earth and the moon, the earth and the sun on one straight line. Again, solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes between the earth and the sun on one straight line. So what about lunar eclipse? It occurs when the earth comes between the moon and the sun. So here is the middle body. هو الفرق الأساسي من الاثنين. The middle body in solar eclipse is the moon. The middle body in lunar eclipse is the earth. So another difference. But before we start our lesson today about observing the space, I have two short videos to see the main differences between them, or to see the main difference between solar and lunar eclipse. So let's start a short video to see the main difference between solar and lunar eclipse and how they occur and what is the similarities and differences between both of them. So let's see a short video to see the main difference between the solar and lunar eclipse. Okay, let's start a short video to see the mechanism of solar and lunar eclipse and how they occur. Okay, maybe something gets wrong, problem here. Okay, so okay, let's start this short video about the interesting phenomena about solar and lunar eclipse. Okay, here's the mechanism of lunar and solar eclipse. Here is the moon comes between the sun and the earth, or the earth comes between the moon and the sun. As I said, if the moon in the middle, it will be solar eclipse. If the earth in the middle, it will be lunar eclipse. Okay, look here. If the moon in the middle, it will cast the shadow on the earth. So it will cause two areas which are umbra and penumbra, and causes three types of eclipse, which are total, partial, and annular solar eclipse. Okay, but if the earth comes in the middle, as in this picture, as in this case, it will cause the lunar eclipse, أو خسوف القمر, as we said, as we have recognized this phenomena. So it will cause three types also of lunar eclipse, which are total, partial, and semi-shaded lunar eclipse. Okay, look here. If the moon comes in the middle, it will be solar. If the earth comes in the middle, it will be lunar eclipse. Okay, look here, as we have recognized, light travels in a straight line and causes umbra and penumbra. So in this area of umbra, look here, in this area, I will have total solar eclipse. In the area of penumbra, here and here, I will have partial lunar eclipse. Okay, but what happens if the moon gets nearer to the sun and gets in higher orbit? It will cause annular solar eclipse. But what happens here, if the earth comes in the middle, it will block sunlight from reaching the moon, and it will cause lunar eclipse, أو خسوف القمر. Okay, look here, it will cause lunar eclipse. So the moon shadow, or the moon color, tends to be red in its first case because it's total lunar eclipse, and it will be partial if if we can see a part of the moon, and also we can see the semi-shaded lunar eclipse, the third case of this phenomena, which is semi-shaded lunar eclipse. Okay, look here, the earth in the middle between sun and the moon, so it will cause lunar eclipse. It will cause, as I said, lunar eclipse. So the main difference between the two phenomena is that in the middle body. If the middle body is the earth, it will be lunar. If the middle body the moon, it will be solar. So it will be impossible to be the sun the middle body. طبعا مستحيل تكون السن هي middle body, because it's very large, and the moon, the earth, and all the planets revolve around the sun in fixed elliptical orbit. So It's a very interesting phenomena. We must study it in details because it's very interesting and very dangerous at the same time, as I said, and it will be, or it may cause blindness to the eye, and it may cause some dangerous disease to the eye. So we must wear special glasses during solar eclipse, but we cannot, or we needn't to wear special glasses in lunar eclipse because it isn't dangerous. So we must take care. Solar eclipse is a very dangerous, but lunar eclipse is not dangerous, and we needn't to wear special glasses through this phenomenon. And also, we know that solar eclipse is repeated in every 21 years and 5 months, but lunar eclipse repeated about 2 times per year, or about 1 time every 6 months or 5 months and half, nearly or almost like that. Okay, so let's start our lesson today about observing the space, and in this lesson we will know very important information, very important devices to use in observing the space. So in this lesson we will have many important information and many easy information at the same time. Take care, this lesson is very short and very easy at the same time, but we must take care, it's full of many benefited information. Okay, so what is the main device we use in observing the space? I have a picture for this device. You can guess what is this device. ممكن نخمن ايه هو الجهاز اللي هنستخدمه في observing the space او استكشاف فضاء. Let us see this device. نشوف الجهاز. I'm sure all of you know this device. It's the telescope. So what's meant by telescope? Telescope, as we know, telescope is a device used to form magnified photos for distant bodies such as celestial bodies. Again, telescope is a device used to form magnified photos for distant bodies such as celestial bodies. هو الجهاز اللي بيستخدمه عشان يكون صور مكبرة للأجسام الفضائية أو السماوية البعيدة such as stars, moons, galaxies, planets, and so on. So in space monitoring, what about space monitoring in ancient times? Let us have a hint or a historical hint. ناخد لمحة تاريخية about space monitoring in ancient times. Look here, Babylonians discovered that, Babylonian أو البابليين, they discovered that moon returns back to the same point where lunar or solar eclipse occurred after 18 years and 11 days. Babylonians, they are great people or great scientists. They discovered that moon returns back to the same point where lunar or solar eclipse occurred after 18 years and 11 days. So what else about this historical hint? Arab scientists used to watch sky and the moon from the top of high mountains and minarets to determine the start of the month's crescent. العرب أو علماء العرب كانوا متعودين دايما يلاحظوا أو يتابعوا حركة النجوم والكواكب والقمر عشان يعرفوا بداية الهلال أو بداية الشهر القمري, to know the start of the fasting months or to know the feast عشان يحددوا احتفالاتهم بالعيد أو شهر الصيام. Again, to know the month's crescent or to know the fasting month. Again, they managed to make equipment. العلماء العرب قدروا يعملوا equipment أجهزة such as what? To monitor the movement of both sun and the moon and to study the location and the state of some stars. Again, to monitor the movement of both sun and the moon and to study the location and the state of some stars. And also the invention of telescope. Let's have the most important device in the space exploring or exploring the space or observing the space, which is the telescope. How is telescope is invented, or who is the inventor of the telescope? We will have many important information about this device, which is the telescope. Okay, we know that Arab scientists like Al-Hassan ibn Haytham, he is the great scientist in the science of light, and he explained how vision occurred. هو اللي فسر ازاي تحصل عملية الرؤية. Again, the Arab scientist Al-Hassan ibn Haytham explained how the vision occurred, but he isn't the inventor of telescope. ناخد بالنا مش هو مخترع التلسكوب، لكن مخترع التلسكوب شخص تاني خالص. His name is Galileo, and he is an Italian scientist. Again, the Arab scientist Al-Hassan ibn Haytham explained the vision which made or make it easy for Galileo to make his first telescope. So Al-Hassan ibn Haytham was the first scientist who explained the vision. هو اللي فسر الرؤية. Again, Al-Hassan ibn Haytham, he was the first scientist who explained the vision, and also he said that vision occurred due to the amount of light reflected or emitted from the object on the eye. Again, vision occurred. Al-Hasan said that or explained that. He said vision occurred due to the amount of light reflected or emitted from the objects on the eye. And also he said that based on his theories, scientists invented a device which is called the telescope. Again, based on this theory, واعتمدوا على نظرية الحسن بن هيثم في موضوع تفسير الرؤية وقالوا أو اخترعوا جهاز مهم جدا هو التلسكوب. Scientists invented a device which is the telescope. This device collects a great amount of light emitted from distant stars or reflected from the planets in the universe. ناخد بالنا أنا هنا قلت emitted from stars يعني منبعثة من النجوم لأن النجوم هي emit light بترسل ضوء أو بتبعث ضوء but reflect from planets لكن بتنعكس من الكواكب لأن الكواكب as we know dark bodies, they are dark bodies that reflect light, not emit light or not send out light. Again, this device, which is a telescope, collects a great amount of light emitted from the distant stars or reflected from the planets in the universe. So, this device was called astronomical telescope. سمينا الجهاز ده astronomical telescope أو التلسكوب الفلكي. It's a very important and vital device in observing the space. And again, this device collects what? It collects a great amount of light emitted from the distant stars or reflected from the planets in the universe. الجهاز ده بيجمع كمية ضوء كبيرة جدا منبعثة من النجوم أو منعكسة من الكواكب. Again, distant stars or emitted from distant stars and reflected from the planet in the universe. This device was called what? It's called the astronomical telescope. Astronomical telescope أو التلسكوب الفلكي. That's the device which we use in observing the space. So, who is the inventor of this telescope? It was the great scientist Galileo. Galileo was the first scientist who made an astronomical telescope. Again, Galileo was the first scientist who made an astronomical telescope. هو أول شخص يعمل تلسكوب فلكي. His name was Galileo and he was an Italian scientist. Again, Galileo was the first scientist who made an astronomical telescope. So, Galileo was the first who managed to see the mountains of the moon through a telescope. Galileo كان أول شخص يشوف إن القمر is full of mountains and the moon is like the earth, is like any planet and full of holes, full of rocks, dust, sand, full of mountain, and it's like all the rocky planet and or like the earth or similar to the earth as it was full of mountain. Galileo كان أول شخص يشوف فعلا القمر إنه تقريبا شبه الأرض تماما ممتلئ بالجبال والحفر والصخور like rocks, mountain and so on. So again, Galileo was the first who managed to see the mountains of the moon through a telescope. So Galileo used what? Used lenses to collect light in his telescope. Again, Galileo used lenses, not mirrors. We must occur. This point can be found in correct questions or right and wrong questions. Galileo used what? Used lenses, not mirrors, to collect light in his telescope. So as I said, this lesson is very easy, is very short, and also it's very full of important information. هو درس مليان فعلا بالمعلومات الصغيرة جدا لكن مهمة جدا. Galileo again used what? Used lenses to collect light in his telescope, not mirror. We must take care. ناخد بالنا. Galileo استخدم lenses مش mirror. Okay? So, give reason. Since the past, it's very important. Give reason question. Since the past, man was concerned with observing stars and the planet. ليه الإنسان كان مهتم جدا منذ الماضي أو منذ القدم بملاحظة النجوم والكواكب. Again, it's very important. Give reason question. Give reason. Since the past, man was concerned with observing stars and planets. So the answer will be that. To find suitable reasons for the astronomical phenomena that he observed in the sky. عشان يلاقي إجابات مقنعة أو إجابات مناسبة للظواهر اللي بيشوفها في السماء such as solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, such as sunrise, sunset, شروق الشمس غروب الشمس. عايز يعرف ليه بيحصل دوت because man is full of knowledge أو man always searches for knowledge. دايما الإنسان بيدور أو يبحث عن المعرفة أو المعلومات. So again, this question is very important. Give reason question again. Since the past, man was concerned with observing stars and the planet, so surely the answer would be that. الإجابة هتكون to find suitable reasons for the astronomical phenomena that he observed in the sky, such as what? Such as eclipse, whatever, solar or lunar, such as sunrise, such as sunset, such as falling of the rain, such as blocking sunlight by clouds, blocking sunlight by moon, by the earth, and any phenomena he will find at the sky, he will search for the reasons for this phenomenon. So, in the past, Arab month crescent was explored by climbing top of mountain and minarets. Another question, it will be give reason question again. So I'll be only give reason. In the past, Arab month crescent was explored by climbing top of mountain. ليه كانوا بيلاحظوا أو بيشوفوا الهلال من فوق الجبال مش من على الأرض. Surely the answer will be that due to the clear vision بسبب الرؤية الواضحة in these areas through the clear atmosphere من خلال الجو الواضح أو الرايق عشان أكيد هيكون فوق الجبال الرؤية more clearer or more obvious هتكون أوضح أو بشكل أنقى كتير جدا. So again the question says that give reason. In the past, Arab month crescent was explored by climbing top of mountains and minarets. Again, in the past, Arab month crescent was explored by climbing top of mountains and minarets. So surely the answer will be that due to the clear vision in these areas through the clear atmosphere. So let's have scientific hint لمحة بقى علمية عن التلسكوب. We have many modern telescopes such as what? Such as telescope types because they differ according to the type of rays that they receive. عندنا أكتر نوع من تلسكوب حسب نوع الريز اللي بيستقبلها أو اللي بيشتغل بيها. Again, so we have many modern telescopes because the telescope type differ according to the type of rays that they receive such as what? Such as number 1, visual light rays. Number 2, infrared rays. Number 3, ultraviolet rays. So we have many telescope. كل تلسكوب بيشتغل بنوع معين من الأشعة أو النوع بنسميه visual light rays. النوع التاني بنسميه infrared rays. النوع التالت بنسميه ultraviolet rays. And we know what's meant by visual light هو أشعة الضوء المرئي أو الضوء العادي اللي احنا شايفينه. Infrared أشعة تحت الحمراء. And we can see this rays only by the camera of the mobile with the remote control set. لو استخدمت remote control ووجهته لكاميرا الموبايل هشوف الانفراريد rays because we cannot see these rays by the naked eye. ما ينفعش خالص اشوفها بعناية المجردة لكن ينفع بس اشوفها with the mobile camera or by the camera of the mobile with the remote control sets. So what about the ultraviolet? It's another type of rays which uses or which is used in the another type of telescope. So we have made telescope such as what? Such as visual light rays, infrared rays, ultraviolet rays. So again, the telescope are many type. Modern telescope are many type. So they differ according to the type of rays that they receive, such as what? Such as visual light rays, infrared rays, and ultraviolet rays. So notabene, it's a very important information. Astronomers keep their telescope in what? بيحطوا تلسكوبات فين؟ They keep their telescope in a certain place called observatory. بيحطوها في مكان بنسميه observatory أو هو المرصد. Again, astronomers keep their telescope in a certain place called observatory أو المرصد. So again, observatory مرصد الفضاء هو is a place where telescopes and devices used in observing the space are kept. So these observatories have dome shape. الobservatory دي بيكون ليها شكل قبة أو ceiling سقف بتاعها شكل قبة that are opened at night to direct the telescope towards any part of the sky. عشان يفتحها أثناء الليل كان be open ممكن تفتح عشان يوجه التلسكوبات أو devices to any place at the sky to observe what happened in the sky, to observe phenomena in the sky, to observe any celestial body in the sky. So again, the observatory is what? The observatory is a place where astronomers keep their telescope and devices to see or to observe the space or to observe the sky. So again, the observatory is what? The observatory is found at high mountains to obtain clear vision for space. The observatory is found at high mountains to obtain clear vision for space. So, observing space outside the Earth. We can observe space inside the Earth or from the Earth by telescope, by observatory, by many devices like that. But we also can observe the space outside the Earth by what? By a very intelligent and important device which is called the satellite أو القمر الصناعي. يبقى ممكن نستكشف فضاء من الأرض عن طريق التلسكوب، لكن خارج الأرض عن طريق satellite أو القمر الصناعي. Again, we can observe the space from the Earth by the telescope and observe the space outside the Earth by the satellite. So, satellite is what? Satellite is a device which is observed by the space or which observes the space outside the Earth. And also we have another telescope which is like satellite. في جهاز مهم جدا هنسميه هو فعلا تلسكوب لكن هو تقريبا بيشبه satellite أو بيقوم بدور satellite، هو Hubble telescope. Hubble telescope is a very important telescope which observe the space not from the Earth but outside from the Earth. هو بيلاحظ الفضاء أو بيستكشف فضاء لكن من خارج الأرض إلى حد كبير شوية. What about this telescope? It's a very important information today about Hubble telescope, and I think it's the most important point today in our lesson. ده أهم نقطة في درسنا النهاردة. Hubble telescope هو أهم موضوع هنتكلم عنه النهاردة إن شاء الله. So what about Hubble telescope and what is this telescope and who is the inventor of this telescope? All of this information we'll know now about Hubble telescope. So that's the image of Hubble telescope. دي صورة Hubble telescope. Okay. Hubble telescope is the most famous space monitoring space. هو كان أشهر أو هو ما زال برضه إلى حد ما أشهر تلسكوب فضائي بيستكشف فضاء. Again, Hubble telescope was a famous space monitoring telescope, and also it revolves around the Earth in an orbit of 600 kilometers higher than the surface of the Earth, or about 593 kilometers, approximately 600 kilometers. هو مش موجود على الأرض لكن هو بيدور على ارتفاع تقريبا 600 كيلو أو يقل شوية عن كده higher than the surface of the Earth. Again, it revolves around the Earth in an orbit of 600 kilometers higher than the surface of the Earth. It revolves around the Earth in an orbit of 600 kilometers higher than the surface of the Earth. What about Hubble telescope? Again, it's a telescope about 16 meters length. طوله تقريبا 16 متر. Again, it's about 16 meters length. It's a very long telescope. It was launched in a space shuttle in 1990. يعني هو أطلق في الفضاء في مكوك فضائي سنة 1990. It was launched in a space shuttle in 1990. Again, it was launched in a space shuttle in 1990. It took 10 years to be designed and built. It took 10 years to be designed and built. So the scientists started to make or to design this Hubble telescope about the year of 1980. تقريبا بدأوا يعملوا فيه لمدة 10 سنين من 1980 لغاية 1990. So it took 10 years to be designed and built, and it was launched, as I said before, in a space shuttle in 1990. Again, it was launched in space shuttle in 1990, and also it took 10 years to be designed and built. So it uses mirrors to collect light and electromagnetic waves. It's a very important point. نقطة مهمة جدا. هو بيستخدم mirror مش بيستخدم lenses. Again, it uses mirror. But what about telescope of Galileo? Galileo used lenses, not mirrors. Again, Galileo used lenses, not mirror. But this Hubble telescope, telescope Hubble, and it was the name of scientist. على فكرة اسم العالم هو فعلا اسمه كده Hubble. It uses mirrors to collect light and electromagnetic wave, not lenses. بيستخدم مرايات عشان يجمع أشعة ضوئية أو أشعة كهرومغناطيسية. And we will study إن شاء الله what's meant by this electromagnetic wave in the prep stage. إن شاء الله هنعرف كويس أو التفصيل what's meant by this wave. يعني إيه موجات كهرومغناطيسية إن شاء الله في المرحلة الإعدادية. Okay, so it uses mirrors, not lenses, to collect light and electromagnetic wave. But there are some telescopes that use lenses, such as what? Such as telescope of Galileo and other telescopes. From them is the Galileo telescope. Okay, so it provides us with the best photos of Earth and space since 1990. Hubble telescope كان بيمدنا فعلا بصور ممتازة جدا وصور رائعة في دقتها وفي تصويرها لكل أحداث الفضاء أو لكل celestial bodies about the earth and about the space, about the planets, about the moons, about the eclipses, about all the phenomena or the astronomical phenomena since it was launched in the space منذ أن أطلق في الفضاء سنة 1990 أو سنة 1990. So it will be expired by the year 214. طبعا هو كده خلاص فعلا بقى expired من تقريبا من 3 سنين after 24 years of being operated and being hard working. هو كان تلسكوب فعلا ممتاز جدا في شغله وفي تصوير كل احداث الفضاء because so that it was expired. هو خلاص بقى فاقد الصلاحية and it will fall to the earth to one of its oceans and it will fall to one of its oceans and we have another telescope which is called what? James Webb. في تلسكوب تاني اسمه جيمس ويب حل محله فعلا خلاص by the year of 2014. So again the telescope of Hubble telescope was expired by the year 214 after 24 years of being operated and hard working, and it will be replaced by another telescope which is called James Webb telescope that will replace it. Again, the new James Webb telescope will replace it for hard working or for another hard working and having photos and pictures for what happened in the space for every celestial body in the space such as stars, moons, planets, and all the astronomical phenomena. Okay, so Hubble telescope will fall, and it has already fallen to the earth of one of its oceans for its final destination. هو سقط فعلا في المحيط الأطلنطي من تقريبا 3 سنين and will be replaced by another telescope which is the James Webb. So what about satellite? Satellite, again, as I said, is the way to observe the space from outside the earth, not from the earth itself. So we have two ways to observe the space. We can observe the space by telescope from the earth and by satellite outside the earth. يبقى الفرق المهم جدا بين تلسكوب وساتلايت، تلسكوب بيخليني استكشف فضاء من الارض لكن satellite بيخليني استكشف فضاء بره الارض. So which one is better? Surely satellite will be better because we will have more information, because we will have a wide range of knowledge, يعني مدى واسع للمعرفة by satellite more than the telescope. So satellites are more benefited, satellites are more useful than the telescope because they will increase the rate of knowledge for the humanity. هيزود مدى المعرفة للبشرية وهيزود الفوتوز for the celestial bodies, for the phenomena, for the astronomical phenomena, for everything about the space or about the sky. So what's meant by satellite? We can have a definition for satellite, or we can have a description. ممكن نعمل وصف للساتلايت. We can say that satellites are fixed window at space. هي نوافذ مثبتة على الفضاء، أو هي نوافذ بتسمح لنا أو تتيح لنا إن احنا نستكشف فضاء من خلالها. Again, satellites are a fixed window at space. So satellites are flying astronomical observatories that are provided with cameras and telescopes. satellites هي ممكن نسميها مرصد فضاء طائر بيمدنا بالصور عن طريق الكاميرات او التلسكوبات المثبته جواه. Again, satellites are flying astronomical observatories that are provided with cameras and telescopes. So they study the stars and the galaxies from their location outside the Earth's atmosphere, so they will give us wide range of knowledge. هيدوني مدى أوسع من معرفة عن طريق أو للجالكسيز أو للستارز أو البلانيتس and everything in the space. So again, satellite studies stars and galaxies from the location outside the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so the first flight was successfully launched in an orbit around the Earth was Sputnik in 1957. أول satellite أطلق أو نجح إطلاقه الفضاء فعلا كان سنة 1957 وكان اسمه satellite سبوتنيك أو القمر الصناعي سبوتنيك 1. طبعا بعد كتير قوي في أقمار صناعية كتير قوي منها نايل سات وعرب سات and so on. We have many satellites on the sky today. So, but the first satellite was launched to the space was Sputnik in 1957. So again, the first satellite was successfully launched in an orbit around the Earth was Sputnik in 1957. So, what about the galaxies? The last point of our lesson today is the galaxy where the solar system is located and what's meant by the galaxy. We know that the galaxy, they are groups of millions of stars forming beams of light in the middle of the extreme darkness in space. So galaxy يعني المجرة، احنا عارفين كويس قوي. We live on the earth and the earth is is a part of the great solar system، المجموعة الشمسية الكبيرة. And the solar system itself is a tiny part of the great galaxy which is called the Milky Way galaxy. احنا موجودين على الأرض، الأرض تبع المجموعة الشمسية، والسولار سيستم والمجموعة الشمسية هي جزء من حاجة كبيرة قوي اسمها galaxy أو المجرة. So what's meant by galaxy again? Galaxy is a group of millions of stars, millions or milliards of stars, and they are forming beams of light. هي بتكون أضواء كبيرة جدا أو حزم ضوئية كبيرة جدا in the extreme darkness of the space. And we can see this star at the night when the moon isn't shining. ممكن نشوف الستار دي بالليل لو المون مش واضح قوي، ممكن نشوف الستارز. Those stars are followed or are found in one galaxy which is called what? The Milky Way galaxy. احنا موجودين في مجرة بنسميها Milky Way because it's like the Milky Way itself. هي شبه فعلا نقط اللبن المسكوب على الأرض، بنشوفها بالليل كده في الفضاء because the space is dark and those stars are very light like the drops of milk, so it has the name of the Milky Way. So the Milky Way galaxy which we live in a part of it is a spiral galaxy. هي مجرة حلزونية and it has 4 arms, and all the solar system, the sun and the 8 planets we know, the solar system itself is found at one of its arms. So let me draw a simple drawing for this Milky Way galaxy. Imagine that it's a spiral galaxy. هي مجرة حلزونية with 4 arms بأربع أذرع, and all the solar system which we live in is found at the one arm of it. So look here, imagine that this is the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, that's the Milky Way galaxy, and we know why this galaxy called by this name. This سميناها Milky Way because it's like the white drops of milk on the black street or on the black space. And where is the solar system? Solar system is found here. Look, here is the sun, 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Look here, imagine how is the Earth small compared by the rest of the universe or the rest of the galaxy. تخيل بقى قد ايه الارض فعلا صغيره جدا بالنسبه للكون الكبير ده كله. So the galaxy where we live is called what? It's called Milky Way galaxy, and it has its name because it's like the spilled milk. هي شبه اللبن المسكوب on the black street or on the black space. So again we live on the earth, and the earth is followed or is found in the solar system, and we know that solar system contains one star which is the sun, and 8 planets which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So all this solar system is found in what? Is found on one arm of the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. So again, what's meant by galaxy? تعريف ده مهم جدا. Galaxy, as I said, they are groups of millions of stars forming beams of light in the middle of the extreme darkness in space. Again, they are groups of millions of stars forming beams of light in the middle of the extreme darkness in the space. So galaxies differ from each other in shape. Galaxies have many shapes. So we have many galaxies in the universe. في أكتر من مجرة في الكون، في كتير جدا بنقدرهم بالملايين تقريبا. And we know we live in a galaxy which is called again Milky Way galaxy. So the most important galaxy to use is the galaxy to which our solar system belongs, which is called Milky Way galaxy. أهم جالاكسي هندرسها النهارده أو الوحيدة النهارده عندنا في منهجنا فعلا هي Milky Way galaxy أو مجرة درب التبانة أو الطريق اللبني, as we know why it's called by this name. So the Milky Way galaxy, what's meant by the Milky Way galaxy? We can say, or we can see a picture of this Milky Way galaxy. Look here. It's a spiral galaxy. هي مجرة حلزونية with 4 arms. ليها 4 أذرع. And where is the solar system? Where is our solar system? Surely our solar system is found at one of its arms. هي موجودة على أحد الأذرع الحلزونية which is found in the Milky Way galaxy. Which is found in what? In the Milky Way galaxy. So we can say that the Milky Way galaxy has a spiral shape and four arms. Has a spiral shape again and four arms. هي فعلا شكلها حلزوني وليها 4 أذرع. Again, the Milky Way galaxy has a spiral shape and 4 arms. And also it's so huge. It contains more than 200 billion stars. تحتوي على أكثر من 2 بليون أو 200 بليون ستار. وعارفين إن كلمة billion equal 1000 million يعني مليار تقريبا أو 1000 مليون. So it contains a huge number of stars which contain more than 200 billion stars. 200 billion stars or 1 billion or 1000 million stars. Okay, so it's huge as it contains more than 200 billion stars or 1 billion or 1000 million stars. So the sun and the planets of the solar system are located on one of the Milky Way's spiral arm. احنا عارفين ان المجموعة الشمسية زي ما درسنا موجودة على احد الأذرع الحلزونية اللي للميلكي واي جالاكسي because it has a spiral shape and 4 spiral arms. ليها 4 أذرع حلزونية واحنا على الطرف الخارجي خالص تقريبا. So the solar system is very small compared to the Milky Way galaxy. السولار سيستم المجموعة الشمسية حجمها صغير جدا بالنسبة لحجم الجالاكسي كلها. So again, sun and the planets of the solar system located on one of the Milky Way's spiral arms. So solar system, what's meant by solar system? مجموعة شمسية, which we have studied in primary 4. I know, or I'm sure all of you know this lesson well, and it was a very easy and interesting lesson at the same time. So solar system is what? They are the sun and the solar system planet, the moons, and the nearest bodies to be seen by telescope in the space. So we can see the planet, the moon, because they are found in our solar system أو المجموعة الشمسية اللي احنا موجودين بداخلها, because they are the nearest bodies to be seen by telescope in the space. So again, what's meant by solar system? Solar system include the sun, the 8 planets, and also the moons which are found in this solar system. So through observing the solar system planets, we get that من خلال بقى ملاحظة السولار سيستم planet أو كواكب المجموعة الشمسية, we know that the planets are classified or are divided into 2 types. قسمنا البلانيت لمجموعتين which are the inner planets which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, or Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and outer planet الكواكب الخارجية اللي هنسميها من أول Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Again, we have classified قسمنا البلانيت لمجموعتين which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and also the outer planet الكواكب الخارجية اللي سميناها Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and we conclude that استنتجنا معلومة مهمة جدا that it is that the inner planet which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars are very small and they are or they consist of rocks. هم كواكب صغيرة وفي نفس الوقت كواكب صخرية. But what about the outer planets? They are huge planets. هم كواكب ضخمة. They are giant planets and consist of solidified gases or consist of gases such as what? Such as Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Again, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So we have classified the planets into 2 groups. قسمنا الكواكب لمجموعتين. The first group which was that Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and also the outer planets which are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the main difference between them is that, or the main differences between them are the inner planets are rocky planets and small, but the outer planets كواكب الخارجية are huge, giant, and consist of gases. هي كواكب ضخمة وبتتكون من غازات متصلبة because or due to the huge coldness which is found at these areas. So let's make a comparison between those planets. The first small rocky planets are or include Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Again, those small rocky planets include Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and they consist of rocks, and they are small planets compared to the outer planets. هم كواكب صغيرة بالمقارنة بالكواكب الخارجية. So let's see the picture again. Look here. The 4 planets or the first 4 planets are very small. We cannot see them compared to the giant or the outer planet. كواكب فعلا صغيرة جدا بالمقارنة بالكواكب الكبيرة. Look here, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars are very small and rocky planet. But what about the outer planet? They are very huge planet like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So small rocky planet include what? Include Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. So what about the huge gaseous planet or the outer planet? They include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. They include what? They include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So again, they include the 4 outer planets, which are the Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And we know that we have classified the 8 planets into 2 types, which are the inner planet, كواكب الداخلية, which are very small and consist of rocks, and also the outer planet, which consists of gaseous or solidified gas, and they are very big or very huge compared to the inner planet. So now I have many important questions about this lesson, and as I said before, زي ما قلت قبل كده, this lesson is very easy, very short, and very full of interesting and important information. وده صغير جدا لكن فيه معلومات صغيرة قوي بين السطور. We must take care from this information. So I have a give reason question. The question says that give reason. Let us write this question. Give reason. The question says Arab scientists used to explore moon the crescent from high mountain. Why they explore this crescent from high mountains, not from the earth itself? Surely the answer would be that due to the clear vision of at the high mountain. So the answer would be that due to the clear vision of high mountain, not the earth. Due to the clear vision, لأن الجبال بتدي رؤية أوضح or more clearer or more obvious than the earth. So again, the answer would be that due to the clear vision of high mountain. So another question, which is that mention the rule. The question says that mention the rule of number 1 Galileo, number 2 الحسن ابن الهيثم, number 3 Hubble. Okay, mention the rule of the great scientists of Galileo, الحسن ابن الهيثم, and Hubble. We can say that Galileo made what? Galileo made the first astronomical telescope. Okay, Galileo made what? Made the first astronomical telescope. So what about Hassan al-Haytham? Hassan al-Haytham didn't made any telescope, but he explained the vision. So we can say that Al-Hassan ibn al-Haytham explained what? He explained the vision and how it occurs. Explain the vision and how it occurs. Okay, so what about Hubble telescope? We know that Hubble made the first telescope that can rotate around the Earth at a height of 600 kilometers. So we can say that Hubble telescope or Hubble made the first telescope that can orbit يعني يدور حوالين الأرض أو يبقى ليه مدار حوالين الأرض, orbit the earth at a height of 600 kilometers or approximately 600 kilometers, because it was already 593 kilometers. So another question about this more interesting lesson. Okay, the question says that compare between the outer and the inner planet. Again, the question says that compare between the outer and inner planets. And as usual, we made a comparison in a table. زي ما نصحتكم قبل كده أكتر مرة, we must make the comparison in a table. We can write that, okay, a table like this, and here I can write a point of comparison, or POC. Here I can write inner planet, and outer planet, okay. So what about the inner and outer planet? Surely we have many differences between them, or many point of comparison between them. We can write at first the structure between them, or the difference between them in the structure. We know that the inner planet consists of, or contains, rocky substance or rocks. They are rocky planet. هي كواكب صخرية, rocky planets. But what about outer? They are gaseous planet. They are gaseous planets. Okay, so another point of comparison is that the size, حجم, they are small planets. Surely the inner planet are a small planet. And what about the outer, or the outer planet? They are huge planets. And also the distance from the sun, or distance from the sun. They are nearer than the other. The inner planet are nearer, هم الأقرب, nearer. But outer planets are farthest, or farther than the sun. Okay, so by this question we have reached the end of our episode, and I will revise with you what we have studied from the first of this semester. We have studied many things and many interesting lessons. We have studied levers and levers law at Unit 1. We have studied 3 lessons at Unit 2, which deal with electricity, the conductors and the insulators, and also how to deal with the electricity, or precaution of dealing with electricity. Also, we have studied Unit 3. Today we have finished Unit 3, which include 3 lessons, which are solar and lunar eclipse, and also the last lesson today, which is observing the space. And inshallah, God willing, we are gonna to have the last lesson of this syllabus this semester, آخر درس في منهج الترم ده inshallah, which is Unit 4. Unit 4 consists of only 1 lesson, which deal with the plant biology. And I know all of you like biology, and it's a very interesting lesson, and inshallah we will finish this lesson the next episode. And after that we will have many interesting and many important review or revision about what we have studied this semester. So now I will say to you goodbye, and see you next episode inshallah. Thank you and goodbye.